We're pouring all of our cash reserves into this new method of growth. And if it doesn't work, we're entirely out of cash.
Here's the thing that I found in the 1%. It's easy to do the business model, to walk down the path of what it would take to get $10 million in revenue. But then when they reverse engineer how much money, the people that it'll take, they get scared because it's usually a big number. For us right now, we're looking at a $500,000 investment to double down and take Coconut from $10 million to $20 million in revenue. With the 1%, they're the ones that jump in and believe in the system and the process and do whatever it takes to succeed.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners, Evan Ritchey and Cameron Bawden, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control. Stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
Okay, well, I'm excited to dive in on today's topic because it's one that I have a little experience in, and you have a lot of experience in it. And what I think is funny about looking at the time frames with which Coconut is about to do what we're going to do, and when you did door-to-door, it's almost like flipped in the inverse, right? So we're going to talk about my experience at door-to-door Con, why I was there, what I got from it, and what we're doing with that information. And so you started Green Mango off of a door-to-door program. Mm-hmm. And just contextually for time frame, Coconut is 8.5 years in, and we are just about to launch a door-to-door program. So,
which I want to make sure that and that's what we're going to talk about in today's podcast is why are we getting into a door-to-door program when it's a high acquisition cost, but we're killing it on the traditional marketing. Right. So with Green Mango, that was our only way to grow at the beginning. We knocked doors for 6 years, and when we felt like, man, how do you run a successful pest control business? It's really difficult when it's just on door-to-door. Yep. And so we went completely over to traditional marketing, and we were able to lower our acquisition costs. And what's interesting about Coconut is we're killing it with our traditional marketing, and we're looking for more ways to grow. We're kind of, I don't want to say tapped out, but it's like if we do $9 to $10 million in Coconut, Arizona through traditional marketing, that's a huge win. Yep. That's one of the top companies in Arizona. How do we go to 20 million? Yep. One of the ways is door-to-door. And so even if we have a higher acquisition cost, it, again, opens up more opportunities for us to grow. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So hopefully if you're listening to this and you're looking for new ways to grow, you'll be inspired on justifying maybe higher acquisition costs to create more funnels.
And just so you understand the dive that we're taking in and the risk that we're willing to take is throughout the last 3 years, we've really honed in on our acquisition cost, and we've got it down to $45. And like Cameron said, we're not tapped. However, if we continue to double down on the current sources for new customers, we're going to start increasing our acquisition cost. And so those things are going to continue to happen. However, we want an accelerator for rapid expansion, and it's probably going to require about 5x the acquisition cost. So first is Sam Taggart founded Door-to-Door Con 9 years ago, because this was Door-to-Door Con 9. And I've been joking off the camera that like this was all my idea, but I remember it was about 3 years ago you said, hey, you should look into doing door-to-door for Coconut. And I remember at the time I'm like, dude, I have so much going on, like almost shot it down like immediately.
Not almost, you did.
I shot it down immediately. And then I called you the first night of Door-to-Door Con. I'm like, Cameron, this is going to change the business. But, and so I wanted to get the feel and the vibe of door-to-doors again, because I knocked probably 13 years ago. And so I wanted to go, and I wanted to bring some members of the team. I started looking at plane tickets, and I'm like, man, and I just want you all to understand, just the real talk is that Coconut has worked so hard to put away cash reserves to help us feel a little bit safe and protected. And when you work hard to do that, and you start making decisions to invest into a new source of marketing that doesn't have immediate returns, it's uncomfortable. And so I think I was looking all out for about 10 grand with flights for the people that I wanted to take. And then you sit down with me, and I didn't even tell you like that was on my mind. And you're like, hey man, like just want to remind you, like I talked about last month, going into the new year, I want you to like use anything that you need of mine, like the boat, the helicopter, like having people at the home, like whatever you need, like it's yours. So I'm like, man, thank you. And then the light bulb went off like 10 minutes later. I'm like, wait,
this wasn't in the same day.
I think it was.
No way.
It feels like the same day. Cause like, I just remember thinking, I'm like, I see the Sprinter come in. So maybe it was the next day or a couple days later. I see the Sprinter pull into the parking lot. And I'm like, wait, that's enough seats for everyone. I said, Cam, you said that like you want to, let me use whatever. Can we use a Sprinter? And back to me shutting things down fast. You shut that down fast. You said no. You said I'm weird about miles. No. And then like you went in to have like a little meeting, and then you came out and you said, fine, you could have the Sprinter. So I thought that was a really cool aspect. And I think that it was very contextually appropriate for that demographic of people at DoorCon.
I want to highlight a couple of things right now. One of my goals for Coconut this year was to support them however I can. And one of the big supports that I can give is through access. Yep. And I just want to highlight, last year we didn't really utilize much of anything of mine. I don't know if even with
Green Mango, like we didn't do.
Yeah, like we just didn't do it. And I think we're missing out there. And so it all started with being intentional in the year. What is my goal in this category? How can I contribute the most to get the greatest return? And I identified one of the things was through my things. The next thing I did is I went to Evan.
Elaborate on things, because like I think it is.
I
think it's cool for us, and I think
kind of what you said. It's like, hey, Lake Powell trip at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If we like, that's one of my favorite trips of all time is Lake Powell trip. And if we could create some type of incentive around that, I think it's a win. Would it take a lot of work? Would it take a lot of money? Like all the things, but the thing that the acquisition has already happened of the thing. And so in order to go on the trip, it's almost like pretty much nothing because we already spent all the money to acquire it.
Right.
The helicopter, if we were going to go rent out a helicopter for a couple hours, it'd be $5,000 to $10,000. It's a lot cheaper for us. I don't know what you're looking at. I didn't know someone just walked in. So in like the house, the golf memberships, just anything that, the Sprinter van, the nice cars, like whatever it is, how can we use it? And so I just want to point that out, that you, like anyone listening to this podcast, you have something that you can use or that someone that could use. And it's not about that, but it's just identifying what is it that I need to focus on this year. And so it all started with, okay, here's my focus. Here's what I feel like could move the needle for Coconut. And then I went and expressed it to you. And then you saw an opportunity with Arizona, how you could make that experience better on the way up. Because you decided, hey, we want to save some money. Why don't we drive up?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that look like? Was there 7 dudes or something? How many?
7 times 5, so yeah.
Well, just 7 dudes. So you're in a Suburban, right? And how uncomfortable is that? Then you see the Sprinter come in, and again, like when you asked, it was like, dude, heck no, you can't drive my Sprinter. Like I offered you a snack, not the whole kitchen, bro. Like you can go do a couple hours on the boat or the Sprinter, but you want to take this for 4 days. Yeah. But when I just came back and realized, it's like, dude, this is what could move the needle slightly for Coconut. And then on the way up, like, I'm just curious because I've had a ton of different examples in my life of how the van, what's funny? I don't know if we've talked about this, but Liz and I have been in, we talked about maybe 5 fights in the past 15 years. One of the fights is the Sprinter van. On my birthday. It ruined my birthday.
To get it?
Yeah.
So it ruined your 40th?
The frick?
Birthday? Okay, keep
37th birthday.
37th birthday.
If you're listening to this podcast right now and you're loving what we're talking about, but you're still confused of where to go and how to accomplish it, that's exactly why we started the 1% Club. We go through playbooks that teach you exactly how to do it and when to do it. And so I want you to click the link below that talks about the 1% Club and want you to join with us. And because she offended me, she's like, what are you going to, like, why do you need a driver? You're not even driving that much anymore. It literally ruined the day because we went out there. I think my birthday was on a Thursday or something. Went out there, looked at it, and I just like, so Luxury Auto Collection, we're getting off topic a little bit here, but Luxury Auto Collection is a warehouse that has like really nice cars, and I love going to look at nice cars, right? we roll up and they have a van section, and I walk into it. I'm like, dude, this van is freaking sick, dude. And I told Lisa, like, I want to buy it. And crap, you can't just buy a van. Like, you need a driver. And then that's when I told Liz, and she's like, she's always down, but she's just like, why do you need a driver? And I got offended, and we literally, like, I didn't talk to her for the rest of the, like, we went to dinner and we did not talk to each other on my birthday. Anyways, so
well, let me tell you what good. Okay,
well, so what's cool about, I've had a few different experiences of, one, not only being productive in the van to go into meetings, so like it's justified that way, but when I bring in an investor and we're talking on the way to the airport in traffic, there's one in particular in the past couple of months that happened where we were in traffic for over an hour, but because of the way that the van's set up, like we were able to pretty much have a conference meeting in the van, and it just enriched the whole experience. And so I'm just curious, like, what happened because of the van on the way to Utah that it would have been different if you guys were like sitting and like turning around, you know, looking at the road behind you.
So the honorable mention is that we picked up a potential franchisee in the van, and I'm convinced that's like one of the reasons why they signed.
Wait, what?
When we picked up
you didn't tell me this.
Yeah. So Kansas City, that was like
not for the door-to-door.
That's why I said the honorable mention.
Experience.
The honorable mention of the van. Okay. But at door-to-door con, right? So think of the audience, right? 20 to 30-year-old guys that, like you, they like the cars, they like all the stuff. And so I thought it was cheesy for a second, but all the guys did vote for this, and I didn't oppose it, but I'm like, we got to do this. And it's, we had Jacob, our videographer, who is just locked in and getting all the sick shots. He got out, and then we pulled back around, and then they like turned up the music. I'm like, do not turn up the music. We're not getting out to freaking Lil Wayne. Like, that looks stupid. But we get out, and here's, you know, the format is that it was a lot going on in the front. There was vendors, and there was this like political group just like yelling at everybody to come sign something. And when we got out, nothing immediately happened. A lot of people were like, what's that? But what happened throughout the event was that people were like, hey, were you the guys that came in that Sprinter van? And I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, yeah, that's us. That's totally us. You need like autograph, whatever. But no, what it did was, and off camera I told you, is that two things happened that immediately accelerated the rate at which people connected with me and saw where they could take the relationship with me. And that was first the van, where a lot of people were like, hey, who are you guys? And then second was there was somebody that I was purposely targeting to talk to because he got a golden door for cleaning. And he was with his business partner. We started talking to him, and he was with another gentleman who knew us from the Premium Mindset, and he also knew you. And he like tapped the guy that I was talking to that I wanted to like pick his brain about how I can, you know, start the door-to-door program. And he said, hey, dude, this guy's partner, like, he's had exits over, you know, $100 million. And the conversation immediately shifted to like, how can I help? Like, what do you need? I'll come to Arizona and we'll talk, we'll chat, whatever. And so bringing this full circle, you know, to the people that listen to this, is that Coconut is doing fine without door-to-door. And I know a lot of people that are doing fine, but I've seen this evolutionary phase of Coconut from grassroots to our first year, to influencer marketing, to organic marketing, to paid marketing, and now we're doing this big launch of in-person marketing, door-to-door, right? And it's not because Google and all the other stuff isn't working. It's working. And now we want that accelerated silo for new customers. And so when you look at your company and you want to grow, the answers are out there. Door-to-door has been around forever, but it's really been a thing, and social media has like kind of put it on this platform in the last 20, 25 years. And so I look forward to working with you on creating a door-to-door program, because I call them insecurities, but it's more so concerns for starting the program, is all these guys have stories for being was it gypped by their companies? Like, I worked so hard this summer, I'm not getting paid. Or they've said, I can pay you over the next 3 years. And so what's so weird to me is that, like, as you see this stage and all these people excited and ecstatic, and then you start talking to them one-on-one, and they're like, dude, F this company and screw this company because they're not even paying me. And I'm not, like, I didn't even get paid for this last summer. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of unfortunate things going on. And so I look forward to tapping into the space as a company that, one, follows through on payment, but two, we truly bring honor and integrity to how we go about serving door-to-door reps, and how we can create pathway programs for them to truly grow beyond just real estate.
Yeah. I want to highlight too and compliment you, because I know these things aren't your style. Like, probably it's the last place you want to be. But you know that in order for you to take that next step for Coconut, like, you need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and an uncomfortable situation is going to an event like this. And I just want to remind people out there, again, we talk a lot about networking. We talk a lot about surrounding yourself with the right people. Where are the right people? You identify Door-to-Door Con as the place to be if you're wanting to build a door-to-door program. Steve Hunsaker, did he go? I think he went.
I didn't see him.
Okay. He texted me. Did it start on Friday?
Yes.
So Thursday night, he texted me, hey, I want to pick your brain about running a door-to-door program. And I was like, if you really, like, one, I'll help you. But two, if you want to, like, jump full in, like, you need to go to Utah tomorrow. And I think he went. But
I wouldn't be surprised. I think there was probably around 4,000 people there.
Yeah. So again, identifying, one, where are you wanting to go this year in 2026? What silos are you wanting to add? And then being around the area. So different one, identifying where you want to get better at, and then surrounding yourself, and whether that's events, with people, with communities, whatever it might be, right? Like, that's my whole goal with companies. And that's the theory around the 1% Club this month in January, is that we want to help people create an orchestra within their business. When I look at the sales report from Coconut and Green Mango and every other company we've done, it's 1 to 2 sales per day in 10 to 15 different markets and different sources. And so we're going to go create door-to-door as just one other silo. Of course, we have to get more than 1 or 2 sales in this silo in particular, but that's the point. If you go grow 15 to 20 different apple trees, if one tree dies, that sucks, but that's not going to hurt your business. There's a lot of people that are going all in on SEO, and that's kind of been us, but we've had influencers, we've had referral programs, we've had all these other areas. And so the point is that when we look at businesses and consult them, most people are all in on one silo. And I just can't imagine the stress that it takes. So go identify 2 to 3 different silos that you can implement over the next 3 to 6 months that'll add 1 to 2 sales a day for your business. And not only will you sleep better at night, but you'll have other areas to grow and a new different type of customer source to upgrade and to sell to. And, you know, it's just a beautiful thing. So I'm excited for Coconut, but let's talk about the stresses of a door-to-door program. Let's talk about the capital that we talked about, that you're kind of letting it all ride.
Yeah. So that was, I feel like, maybe a week ago, where I just had a real chat with you, where I just said, hey, look, man, you know, we've worked hard to put this money here, and starting this, I just, you know, I am all in on doubling down on Coconut and our growth, but this is going to be one of those things where, you know, you repeatedly talk about in the 1%, but also just as long as I've known you, where it's like, Evan, if you put $1 in and get $2 back, like, how many times are you going to do that? It's easy to do that. And talking to you guys out there, it's easy to put $25 a day in Meta and then see your 2 to 5 leads come in and close them, and you feel comfortable, right? But for door-to-door, it's going to be like, put 250 in today, 500 in tomorrow, 2,000 in the next day, and we're probably going to wait about 60 to 90 days to get a return on that, because we're having to get the iPads, the recruiting, and half of these guys that sell door-to-door, they're like, what's the sign-on bonus? And I'm like, those exist these days? I didn't know you have all that. So what keeps me up at night about the door-to-door program, one, is back to the homegrown grassroots thing that we have here, is that when I went and knocked for larger companies 13 years ago, all I knew was starting a branch in another state, like literally starting the branch. They weren't already existing there. So the 2 times that I sold beyond Green Mango was, you're starting the thing in that city. It doesn't exist. Where here, my hunch is why a door-to-door program is going to work so well is like when they see a guy walking down the street in a blue coconut polo, and they see that blue coconut van and people knock on doors, I think door-to-door guys are going to be pleasantly surprised that people are like, oh, coconut.
Yeah.
And it's that brand recognition. And that's why you've always said that, like, hey, this is why I think a door-to-door program would be great now, is that it's brand recognition. And so I just had an experience with franchisees because Cameron and I are still building a national company. And I was able to illustrate to them how important it is to stay on top of their leads, that before they pass it off to a family member, that they need to have the SOPs that we already have. So it's clear, the stats are out there. Franchising is an accelerator for you to not only start a business, but to be able to grow at a pace that just starting a regular company, you just can't do. So if you're interested in franchising with us at Coconut Cleaning and you want to jump into a system that's ready to go, click the link below and we'd love to talk to you soon. To the people out there that have your $500,000 a year, $2 million a year business, $10 million a year business, we've put all the silos out on the table, and we've said, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to continue to do. And here's the next little thing that we're going to invest a lot of money into and be willing to wait for the return. But the one thing that I know absolutely true is that we're going to put in the work to make it right. And I know that when people come and we get that first door-to-door guy or two actually getting paid when we told them we would pay them, and then they start sharing that too, I just know that this is going to work. And so the one thing that I've always had faith in is our work ethic and making something work. And I think it's only a matter of time until we have 10, 15 door knockers. And I think what that's going to mean for us is like more franchisees who want to grow faster are going to be able to do so when they have people, 2, 3 guys go out to a city for a blitz and add, 100 coconut clubs in a week or 2.
But the fear is that
the fulfillment side,
because the fulfillment side of 15 dudes getting 4 sales a day, right? 60 new accounts every single day. And you want those serviced within 24 hours.
Yep.
The van can handle 4 to 5 jobs a day. So what is,
that's only like 15. Like we're going to need
that's
15
doubling
more.
our fleet.
Yep.
And so what's the version of
doubling our fleet in 6 months for what we did in 9 years?
So is it 15? Is it 8? Is it 7 door knockers? Is it?
That's what I look forward to, like sharing on our socials as we experiment, is where we have 2 things that we're experimenting with the pitch. And those are going to dictate how bandwidth follows, because we have the air duct service, which is not a cleaning van. And then we also have, we can sell a cleaning right out the gate. And then we also have, we can sell a coconut club right out the gate. And so we're knocking this week. I'm knocking in a few hours to start experimenting with what's going to be sold on the door. So then that would give me an indication for the type of bandwidth I'm going to have to assess and how many vans I'm going to need.
So the opportunity is, and I don't want to just, it depends on the 7 or 15, but when you were throwing around like an additional $10 million in revenue this year, how many accounts is that?
So,
or how much revenue, what would be our revenue on that?
So if they sell, so let's just go down the coconut club route, because that's the one that we really,
just your average person, right?
Yeah.
So
50%
are going to buy the cocoa.
Yeah. So 50% are going to buy the cocoa. I think that's going to be right out the gate. It's $400.
And they pay, what's the revenue? So if they sign a coconut club on the year, that customer is going to pay us $1,000.
Yeah, it's about $980.
So $980, and then
that's pre any jobs. That's the enrollment fee, and then $35 a month to be in the spot and spill protection.
Okay, so $980, and then
the account's worth $1,900.
$1,900 on the year.
$1,900 on the year.
So 1,900. So we're doing 10 million divided by 1,900, right? That's your goal.
Yeah.
So 5,200. That's a lot of accounts.
Yes, but then we had 25%. If we went with our current stats, 25% of our coconut clubs purchase air ducts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot less because our average air duct ticket is $1,200. So 25% of the 5,000 are going to spend an extra $1,200 on the air duct service, and so it's not necessarily the 10 million is from a single silo of clubs. It's going to be around whatever that comes out to as far as the volume of clubs. But if you say, so 25% of 5,000, I know the math, but
let's just say, here's what I want to go to. 10 million, and if we maintain 20% margins, then it could be $2 million to us.
Yes.
And this is the framework where it becomes, hey, if it's really 2 million, which is a lot of money here in Phoenix, what are the right players that you need to bring on? Yesterday, you talked about you're like, hey, our current fleet guy is amazing, but he has bandwidth issues.
Yep.
So the right guy's 120 to 150 grand.
Yep.
You're going to have to go buy, and how many vans for 10 million with air ducts?
It's actually not that much. It's only 17 vans.
17 vans.
So sorry, 15 vans to 2 more air duct trucks on top of what we have.
So if we don't pay cash, then we have 17 vans. Each payment's around how much?
$1,200.
$1,200
inside of it, yeah.
So we have 20 grand a month in payments.
Yep.
And
if you're wondering about commissions, here's what you do is you take your current acquisition cost, your current inside sales, the sales that you pay to get the job serviced. So it was like 17% of our revenue was going to acquisition cost, 18% was going to the technician, and then you take out so a normal technician going out there was getting paid an extra 9%. And so now the salesman's doing all that. So what that told me was I have 40% that I'm already paying out for the jobs that we're purchasing. So now I'm just going to shift that 40% over to the salesman.
Do you think we can maintain 20% margins on door on that 1980?
We'll maintain the same margins with this because the commission amount that we're going to pay is the same as our acquisition cost, inside sales payment, and technician payment.
So we have the van payments. We have another fleet guy. We have maybe 1 or 2 additional CSRs that we'll need to bring on to handle that bandwidth.
Yeah.
So let's call that, what's the average CSR making right now? 60, 70 grand?
We're about like the CSR is like 55 grand.
Okay. Yeah. So another 100 grand in CSRs, right? What else would we need to go pull this off?
A lot of work.
Okay. So we're at about 500 grand,
which is,
so we're saying, hey, we can, in order to go get 2 million, we need to go spend 500, which means we would net 1.5. Obviously, these are rough numbers.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, how quickly can we go spend that 500 to make the 2 million?
You're saying that. I'm like,
well,
you said that yesterday.
So then here's the next framework, right? People don't go do that because they don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So where my thing comes into play is that if you believe in it, then you start going down that road. And even if it's not working, you make it work.
Yeah.
And that's the 1%. It's that. So everyone has the idea. Everyone does the math that we just did.
Yep.
Everyone gets to the point of it's 500 grand. So most people fall off right there.
Yep.
And then some people go double down, and something always happens. There's a gotcha moment. You waste money. You know what? It's instead of 500, it's 850 grand, whatever it is. Right. And then they quit. Whereas what I'm saying is that 1% that push through are the ones that make their decision the right decision.
Yep.
So here's full circle. If I'm turning myself in from our conversation less than 12 hours ago, there's this deal that I've been approached on. To invest $1 million into their company.
Okay.
They're offering basically 12% interest. It pays out 1% a month, so 12% on the year.
What's the
plus? If things go smoothly and correctly, I'll get 2 times my value. So that 1 can turn into 2 plus
like
12%
independent
interest.
of the interest.
Yeah.
So
Pretty sweet deal, right? On the sweet deals like this for investments, it comes with a lot of risk.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of assumptions that are played in that a lot of things have to go right
Yep.
in order for that to go right.
and this is probably more hands off than
I write the
door-to-door,
check and I
yeah.
sit back.
yeah.
So there's that aspect of it that's nice, but also I look at it and say, okay, if Evan needs $1 million right now and I own the equity that I do in this company, why am I not putting that money into something that I own a lot more than, 12% interest
Yeah.
on or get an additional 2 points? And it all comes down to believing in the systems. And I'm not saying I do or don't, but that was like my thought process down this whole angle of what it is. And I think that's where people get lost at in business, is that they see the path, they believe it, but then when it has to get put down, they either quit there or they start going down the road and then it's not what they thought it was. And then they quit and then they lost $500,000 because it didn't work.
And that's where I keep telling these guys that went to the door-to-door thing. I said, it's all over but the work now. No more talking. Let's just go do. I said, hey, 5:00, we're going to go knock. We're going to see what we can do. And
Who's going to knock?
me and Christian. So Christian and then Ed Tech is going to come with us so that we can say, hey, we're going to see who can be the first
Are we live
person to put
streaming this, man?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna be recording this. I got the AI transcribing. And so we've been reminded too that like some people, and I would say it's primarily you, but we get put on a pedestal of accomplishment, and I feel like it's necessary for people to hear, at least coming from me, that whatever pinnacle you're looking at for Cameron on, it's like I've been there for the climb, and there were a lot of moments of uncertainty, and this isn't a time of uncertainty. It's actually a time of excitement, because I trust in myself. I trust in the team. I trust in our capabilities. I trust in the brand. It's still uncomfortable, and it's still,
but if is there another opportunity that you can go double your business this year?
I don't know of another opportunity.
Yeah. And so it's like, there's so many distractions as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And this is what we kind of talked about yesterday.
Don't even.
I'm not saying it is or isn't, but
Sure.
hey, boom. Like,
Yep.
go focus on whatever your greatest opportunity is. And, not to give plug for 1% Club, but that's what the Tell Me Where to Chip is.
Yep.
It's all about that. It's all about showing you where can you focus your time that gives you the greatest opportunity. We just, we can announce this because the deal will be done by the time this airs. But as of today, like, we have 2 new partners at Coconut.
Yep.
Tommy Mello, Jeff Duden. We want them to tell us where to chip. As far advanced as we are in business, it's an outsider's perspective of saying, you guys are missing the boat here. This is another add-on service I thought about, the 1% Club. Let me know what you think about this. But like, what if you did a quarterly meeting with companies and we gave them like a breakdown and analysis of everything that they should have done and could do better in the future, and you paid, I don't know what the price point would be. It'd have to be expensive because there's a lot of people, but I mean, you have the CFO go through their entire books, you have a CMO go through their branding and their marketing, you have an operations guy go through that, you have a culture guy come in and do like some type of audit to tell them where they're at. And then you sit down with like, that's what we just gave for Tommy.
Yep.
That's why we partnered with Tommy. And how valuable is that?
Yep.
That'd be a pretty cool service.
I know we could cut right there, but I would say that a talking point you said to Megan yesterday was probably highlights it the most, where you doubled down on 7-week rotation to the math equated to $5 million. And that was a byproduct of implementing a system that took a lot of people to do it. Right. And she said a few times, like, add 5 million, add 5 million. You're like, actually it's a $10 million swing, because every year I don't do this, I'm losing the 5 million. And then the second I do it, I'm going from that I don't have it to now up to $5 million in addition. And I think that the opportunity cost for anybody who would do something like that is the potential of the doing of the recommendation that you get for the next quarter. And if it's 10,000, 100,000, 500,000, it's not just that, it's actually the opposite, where it's $200,000 upside. Well, every day and month and quarter you choose not to commit, it's a $400,000 swing. Coconut plug.
Hey, where are you coming up with these pictures?
Hey. And here's why we're doing all this, because I said, and that's just Phoenix earlier. The reason why I say that's just Phoenix is we look forward to having franchisees. I think the most important conversation I had with our new Kansas City franchisees is they said, remember they were talking to us and he said, hey, 10 years, we were trying to do $1 million in 10 years. Now they're like, how can we do 3 million in the second year? And I love that because it's possible. And now with us doing this and investing in the door-to-door program, it's even more possible because we're going to work out all the little kinks, all the little like, oh, they shouldn't be selling this, or they're going to sell this on the door, give this, and then that turns into a 50% chance that they're going to get the air
If
ducts.
we create our own grit program for all of our franchisees, and like think of the benefit, not only for us, but for them. We get an override on the guys, and we get a benefit for sending them to our franchise locations, and they don't have to worry about the door-to-door program.
And no more like knock doors to own doors. That's like you knock doors to own a franchise to build a multi-million-dollar company.
Knock doors to own doors? What does that mean?
That's like the big thing in door-to-door is the way that these pest control and these big companies keep you in door-to-door.
They give you a residual?
No, they say like, hey, in door-to-door, we're going to show you how to own multi-family real estate, right? Which is phenomenal investment. But the reason why they do that is they say, hey, knock doors, get $150K. We're going to show you how to invest in multifamily proportional to what you made. So next year when you hit 300,000, like you can own a little duplex and then you can own this. And they keep you, they keep the carrot in front of you by saying like, hey, by your 5th year knocking and you're earning 500 to 800,000, like that's like 20 doors that you could own. And then now 10 years down the road, you're just, but it's like 10 years, man. Knock doors, get the system down, buy a franchise, get it to a couple $1 million, and then just chill in the Bahamas.
I have an idea, but I can't share it right now.
On YouTube, we have the Premium Mindset, and we have Coconut Cleaning, and we have Cameron Bawden and Evan Ritchey in this whole thing. And so if you want to see how we operate, how we end up here at this table every week, and how we're doing what we're doing, you can follow each of our YouTubes for Cameron Bawden and Evan Ritchey, and we'll show you behind the scenes as well as how we go about making the organizations that we do. And hopefully it can help you see that we're just some regular guys doing some pretty cool things.
I like the vlog style because it's less formal than the podcast, because there's so many funny things that happen behind closed doors that people can learn from. And like the best content comes from like not being in a formal setting like this. And so that's why I'm excited to release the vlog. And that's what you're going to see when you watch it, is all the ideas that come from it.
It would mean the world for us, one, to get an idea of where we can, you know, like in business, if you put money into Google Ads and you get that return, you're going to keep doubling down. So the more that you double down with us and like and subscribe our YouTubes, we're going to know this is where we're going to invest our time to show you more and to give more value.
And so look, if you're listening to this Premium Mindset 1 and you're not subscribed, like please go subscribe. It takes you 2 seconds, but go to our vlog and subscribe. It's a simple task that you can do. We put hours and hours into this every single week and month. Like the little subscribe button is, we're just playing the game. You have to do it. So help us out if you appreciate this content.